My name is William Tashina, aka Smokin Willy T. I am currently the pitmaster here at Tin Roof Barbecue in Houston, Texas. My day usually starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up, make the drive to the restaurant here. I get here at 4 o'clock. My duties is basically pitmaster, so what I do is I get in, light the pits, start the fires, and get all the meat on. It takes a lot to be a pitmaster. You know, nobody wants to go clean the pits, nobody wants to, start the fires. Everybody wants the title of a pitmaster, but nobody wants to do the work. It takes a lot of drive, to get up at, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock every morning and come to work at 4 o'clock, and then it carries over to competitions, because whenever I go out of town for a competition or event that we're doing, it's like you go to the hotel room, you sleep for a couple hours, and then the next thing you know, you're up and at 'em again at 3 o'clock in the morning. So for me, barbecue is just a passion that I have. I mean, I wouldn't do anything. I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. I was a manager for Walmart, a manager for Petco. I've been in retail most of my life, but no matter how much money you make, when you're spending 16, 18 hours at a place, you have no life. Here, my day is 4 o'clock and I'm off by 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'm able to do things, and my life is a lot more simpler. So I don't care what anybody says. You can make all the money in the world, but you'll never be happy. And now I make a good wage, but I don't have the stress that I used to have. Basically, my life was one of those where I was in the corporate world. I did a lot of retail, and barbecue for me was just a hobby. I ended up joining a barbecue team at a young age, and I just started learning the process of what it took to smoke meat. I remember when we moved here to Houston from Chicago, our neighbor used to have barbecues all the time. I was kind of fascinated by it, because he would always cook on the weekends, and I would always watch him. Once I started, getting into the barbecue, I basically joined the team. The team was more for fun. It was basically a way to get out of work for 3 days and party and drink. But the more I realized that, we were never winning anything, so I ended up leaving that team and started working for another team, which was called Pits and Spits at the time. The pit master there was Robert Smith, and he kind of took me under his wing and basically showed me what it was like to do competition barbecue. Competition and restaurant style barbecue is totally different. There's two different styles. When you're cooking for a restaurant, you're cooking for people. When you're cooking for a competition, you're cooking for one bite. So you have to pack a lot of flavor into one bite. Here at the bar, at a barbecue restaurant, everything has to be constant. Everything has to be. It tastes the same every day. So for you to learn how to cook at a restaurant and how to cook competition is just two different styles. So Robert basically showed me how to do competition barbecuing, and we basically started winning trophies. That was my first time of winning, and I got that itch. Everybody who wins a trophy gets an itch, and you just keep on doing it over and over. Eventually, I ended up leaving Pits and Spits because Robert started his own team, which is First Class Barbecue, and I ended up going with Victor and George, which is Pitmaker. Victor, George, and Julio, those guys took my barbecue to a different level. I learned how to infuse flavors, I learned how to, trim the meat where it's real lean, that way we could cook it faster. We went to competitions all over. As a matter of fact, we were the first team from Texas to go to Memphis in May and take second place. I've traveled all over because of Pitmaker. I was able to go to the Philippines, to barbecue out there. I barbecued in Hong Kong. I barbecued in Monterrey, Mexico, Puebla, Mexico. I barbecued in Cabo. I mean, it's just barbecue for me today is life. You know, it's like they tell you if you love something that you do, that you'll never work a day in your life. And for me, it's one of those things. It's a passion. Had anybody ever asked me if I was going to be a pitmaster, I would have told them no. But today, it's one of those things, and having the Webbers take me in and run their restaurant and cook their meats for them, it was one of those, everybody wants a chance to prove themselves. And, you know, being in the barbecue world, everybody's always trying to, you know, prove themselves. Well, the Webbers took me in and allowed me to prove myself, and, you know, here it's family, you know, so that's why I say it's passion. So every time I trim the meat, you know, every time I season the meat, when I make rubs, when I make sausage, when I make hamburger, I'm putting my heart into that, because I see it as people go through the lines and they got smiles on their faces that my food tastes good, that my food is, you know, it's worth coming. Because sometimes we get a line out the door, and just to see that is to tell people that my food is good. I started working for an organization, or volunteering for an organization called Operation Barbecue Relief, and that basically changed my life. Working with Operation Barbecue Relief, you know, it's a disaster relief program that started in Joplin, Missouri during the tornadoes, and a few pitmasters got together and they started cooking for the community. During Harvey, actually, they came into town. I found out my house took in a little bit of water, so there was really nothing I could do. And I found out that they were going to come, so I volunteered. They let us off at work because our job got flooded, so I was off for 2 weeks. And we set up in downtown Houston. During that operation, we served 179,000 meals to people in the community. And, you know, I was able to actually go out to the community and give these people meals. These are, you know, to give people something, a hot meal. You know, barbecue is one of those heart foods, you know, it's something that it's warm, and seeing these people that had nothing, and their whole house was on the side of the curb, to be able to provide them a hot meal was, you know, is one of those things that just changed my life. It started making me want to volunteer more and you know, help others. And, you know, today I do a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer my time, my cooking, and just because of the fact that, you know, Operation Barbecue Relief planted that seed for me, because it's all about giving back sometimes. You got to give back to what was given to you freely. So basically, you know, for me, barbecues is just, I always say barbecue's life. There's a difference between northern barbecue and southern barbecue. And for them up there, they use a lot of pork. You know, so they're used to cooking hog and pig and pork butts and baby backs. And, you know, here in the South, we're beef, you know, we're beef driven. So, you know, we have a lot of cattle, so we're, you know, cooking brisket. Brisket was one of those kind of meats. It was a pork cut of meat. People didn't really know how to cook it in the early days. You know, the cowboys would get this meat, and it was so tough. And it was considered a cheap meat. But little did people know that if you can cook that brisket right, it's probably the best cut of meat on the cow. You know, to cook a brisket, it takes time. And somehow, some way, you know, a cowboy back in the day, you know, decided to cook that brisket low and slow, and little did he know that, man, that meat was tender, really tender. And that's what we try to replicate, you know, at any barbecue establishment, you know, that tenderness of the meat. You know, nobody wants a tough cut of meat. So what we do is we season it, we trim it up, we put it in the smoker and just give it time. That's the thing about barbecue. It takes time. People want to rush it. They want to, you know, try to do it really quick, but I tell everybody, you know, it takes, if you want good barbecue, it's gonna take some time. One goal and dream that every pitmaster wants is his own restaurant, you know, and just as the Webbers gave me the opportunity to work here and work for them, I one day want to, you know, run my own restaurant and, you know, sell my barbecue. And it doesn't have to be very big. I just want something small. That way I'm able to, you know, showcase my style of barbecue. Everybody has a different style. No matter where you go into Texas, everybody wants to be the best. But the motto that I would use is, I may not be the best, but it's sure damn good. You know, I like to travel. You know, I'm able to go different places, and next year I'll be going to Belgium and London and Germany to go barbecue at the World Championships out there. And that's the thing that everybody inspires to do, is to travel, you know, to be able to taste barbecues from different places, different regions, because everybody's barbecue is different. I try to tell people, when you go to a barbecue restaurant, don't judge or compare it to somebody else's barbecue. You compare it to its own merit. I'm also a KCBS and an IBCA judge, so I know how to judge barbecue. And you know, when we are at a table and at a competition and there's, you know, 150 teams turning in, you can't judge the barbecue compared to what the other, you know, the last rib that you had tasted like. You have to judge that rib on its own merit by itself. So you give it a scale from 1 to 10, and that's what you put on the paper. So in barbecue in Texas, everybody wants to be on the top 50. You know, and the top 50 ranks all over the state of Texas, 1 through 50, of who has the best barbecue in the state of Texas. It's a rigorous process that's been done. Texas Monthly sends out its taste testers, and they go to every barbecue restaurant and they taste it, and then by the end of every 4 years they rank it. So the list is coming out this year, and you know, we are hoping to get a mention on it. We know we're not going to make the top 50 because it's always the same restaurants over and over and over that make the top 50. We just hope that, you know, they come into our restaurant, taste our barbecue, and we get a good honorable mention. That way, you know, we make the list one day. That's my goal. That's one of my big goals also, from owning my own establishment and being on the list of the top 50 in Texas. I'm just so glad that I have the opportunity to do what I love.